GameStop rebuy selling trade games. How may I help you?
Okay, I got a serious issue. Okay, I was playing Call of Duty 4, and I was just playing Call of Duty 4, and then the soldiers came out of the TV screen, and now they're all inside of my apartment, and they're all having a war in my apartment. Help! Help! Help me, please. Can you help me?
Is working at GameStop hard? You know, a lot of you, I'm sure, clicking on this video are thinking about working there, just applied. You were at GameStop, what, 4 years?
5 years.
5 years? Maybe give us a simple yes or no. Is working at GameStop hard?
Technically, no. But realistically, yeah. I guess it's the difference between is being there and doing the job hard? No. It's not a difficult job. Being successful and doing it long term is difficult because of what I've mentioned in the last few episodes. Their expectations are astronomical.
And they're always going up.
GameStop expects you to give them the moon using paper clips. It is if I were to tell you that, you know, your expectation is to take this membership, you have to get people to sign up for this membership. It is $25 for a year of membership. It's got, you know, this list of benefits that someone will maybe take advantage of one or two most of the time, realistically speaking. And you need to get 1 in 4 customers to sign up for that. How easy do you think that's going to be?
Not easy.
No. You're essentially asking someone hey, give me $25 for something that you might get your money back for. And you have to do that for every single person. The expectation for GameStop is it doesn't matter what they're getting, whether they're getting a game or a collectible or digital currency or a fucking t-shirt. Every single customer, you need to hound them on pro membership, on protection if it's available, if they're getting a game or an accessory or a console or something, protection, and pre-order. Doesn't matter what they're getting. Pro membership, pre-order every single time. It's soul grinding.
And if you don't do those things, there'll be a manager like yourself that'll get on the people.
It can be. That's another thing. The quality of who your direct management is will vastly impact how good or bad or tolerable that job can be. I lasted as long as I did because, like I mentioned in the last one, my district manager was fantastic. He was a great guy. He made me not hate my job all the time. He wasn't an asshole about KPIs, so I stayed longer than I probably should have. Longer than a reasonable person probably should have. But, a bad manager can make it a horrendous experience. Knowing who your boss is or would be is a big, impactor of how good or bad that job experience could be. My issue with working for GameStop is it's not what people think it is. You're not getting paid to go there and talk to people about video games. You're not going there to answer questions about what is the best Call of Duty or what should I get my grandkid for Christmas or whatever, what have you. You're getting paid to go there and be like, hey, do you want to sign up for this $25 pro membership? I don't care what you're getting. Sign up for this membership, please. It's stupid.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the main takeaways, because you say it every episode for people thinking about working there, that it's sales. It's not just you like video games. It's a sales job. There we kind of spoke to being a rep, but as far as being a manager, is that easy or hard?
It's a lot harder. Being a manager is significantly harder because now not only are you responsible for your own numbers, making sure that you have high numbers, and especially being a store manager, you should have the highest. Maybe not the highest in terms of volume. That would go to probably your assistant manager because they're in front of people the most. But having the highest percentage. You're not just a boss, ideally, you are a leader. You should be leading the way and showing people, this is how it's done. But on the flip side, when things don't go right, when, numbers are down, things are wrong, that falls on you. That is your fault. So if your boss comes to you and is, hey, why is your pro membership percentage really low? Just saying oh, well, my SGA is not doing well. That's not the correct answer. If your SGA is doing wrong, then the question is, Why are you not fixing them? Being a store manager is harder, which, I mean, that's the case with any business no matter what. Like, if you were in a position of leadership, the expectation falls on you to make sure that others are succeeding as well.
The membership, would you get a lot of pushback on that when you would pitch it?
Depends on the store that I was at. Obviously, stores in areas with, lower income customers or people who come in with very specific things in mind about what they want, yeah, you'll get a lot more pushback. Like the Northern Lights store, like I said, was the hardest store of any of the stores that I worked at to try to get pro memberships, because they did not want to spend money if they did not have to. Getting anything was hard. Getting a pro membership, I can't imagine how hard it is to do it now with a $25 membership when I had pushback enough as it was at $15.
Is dealing with upset customers at GameStop easy or hard?
Depends on what it is, and depends on how the day feels. Like, it can be soul crushing at times. Other times, like I've said in past episodes, there are times where I would have no problem just essentially telling them to fuck off and be like, look, this is our policy, this is how it is, suck it up and deal with it.
What about is answering the phone at GameStop easy or hard? I guess, yeah, it depends on the calls, but generally.
Generally speaking, it's easy. It's just annoying because it's a lot of the same questions, especially if there's a thing that's really popular out right now. Just answering the same questions over and over and over again. It's just annoying more than anything.
Okay.
What's harder, I think, is doing cold calls I don't think they do it anymore. I don't think they're allowed to do it anymore. But for a while, you would have to make cold calls for, pro members, because you could print out a list of your pro members and ask them if they want to come in and pre-order something. Or, call people to let them know, hey, your pre-order is out, come get your shit. Or, hey, do you want to flip your pre-order to this different game? Or, things like that. I hated doing cold calls. It was awful.
I did GameStop, did cold calls, so let's hit on that. Was that something like the DM would just tell all managers, hey, it's Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, we're normally slow today, so be in the back calling people?
Pretty much. It was mostly around the time of major launches like, Marvel Spider-Man or Call of Duty or Madden, things like that. And like I said, I don't think they can do that anymore. I haven't gotten any cold calls from GameStop in a year or so.
Why can't they?
Local
You're
laws, maybe.
Some kind of law? Okay.
That's my guess. Like I said, I don't know. I don't work there anymore. It could just be a company policy change. They may have realized that all they're doing is pissing people off and stop doing it. I'm not sure.
So when you would make those calls, that's pretty much people were just like, why the fuck are they calling me? I don't ever play X game or game series. I don't care.
Honestly, when I did cold calls, it was one of three things. Either I would call and they'd be apprehensive until I'd say, hey, this is Jackson from GameStop. And they'd be like, oh, hey, how you doing? Excited because it's GameStop. They would hang up because, this is a cold call and they're busy, or they just would not answer. Most of the time, 9,000 times out of 1,000, whatever, people, if they didn't want to deal with it, they would just hang up. Almost never had anybody be an ass to me on the phone. I think I've maybe had it once or twice ever. So, most people were either super chill or they would just hang up. It was just annoying. I just didn't like doing it.
Was that something they were already doing when you started at GameStop? Cold calls?
Yeah.
Man, what about dealing with thieves? Thieves, shrink. Is that easy or hard to deal with?
Depends on the situation. Depends on what they're stealing and who it is that's stealing. Sometimes it can be hard. GameStop does not want you to accuse anybody of anything. When I became a store manager, I became a lot more brazen in, you're stealing shit, give me my fucking stuff back. I very much should not have been doing that. Don't do that. Don't put yourself at risk.
I feel like GameStop's got to coach it that way to, protect their own ass.
Yeah.
But deep down, I'm sure they liked that you were...
Yeah,
assertive, but they won't admit it.
Yeah. It's definitely something that I would not jump on it unless I knew for absolute certain, you are very clearly stealing. Mm-hmm. If I wasn't certain in any capacity, I wouldn't do it because, you don't want to risk accusing someone of stealing and then it turns out they're not stealing and then that becomes a huge issue. Mm-hmm. Also, for anybody who does work there or is going to work there or at any business... Don't chase anybody. If someone gets out that door with your stuff, let them go. Do not give chase. Mm-hmm. I almost had to fire somebody for doing that.
Again, is working at GameStop hard? talking about being a manager, some of the more behind the scenes things.
Mm-hmm.
Did managers like every so often get instructions on, hey, this is how you're going to change your store for the holidays?
Yes. So every year in October, GameStop has a grand reset where you will essentially tear down the store and rebuild it for whatever is the setup for that year. I personally enjoyed the resets. They were pretty fun. It was literally like the moment you close, it's your whole team there besides your opener, whoever that was, is there until either the job is done or it's just taken so long you just have to quit. We did have that case one year where it was 2 a.m. and I sent the rest of my team home because we were still not done. I stayed until 5 a.m., at which point it was good enough and I was way too tired to keep going. Mm-hmm. But honestly, it is fun. They will have a full layout of these things go here. You need to dedicate 10 feet for Nintendo, 12 feet for PlayStation, 8 feet for Xbox, so on and so forth, diagrams and whatnot. Yeah. And then even then, week to week, Sundays were marketing days where you would change all the marketing stuff, the posters you would see on the end caps and the things up high and whatnot, special promotional things, whatever. Those were every Sunday. I enjoyed marketing Sundays. Technically, managers only had to work one Sunday a month. I worked every Sunday because I enjoy doing the marketing.
Would managers have to be the one to, if you got, a demo Wii U, Switch, whatever, in the mail, were managers in charge of taking the old console out, putting the new thing in there?
No.
Around that? No.
The three major console providers, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, have their own, local reps who would come through, and every month or two they would go to all the demos and run an update to have the most updated games, change the marketing on their demo stations. But no, we would never touch them.
And then would they stay there and talk to you for a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I imagine it probably depends. I had a good rapport with all three of our reps, so yeah, we would stay and we would chat.
Would they be able to see any numbers oh, you guys have only sold X number of Xboxes?
Probably. If they did, I never spoke to any of them about it.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, that is a lie. I did talk with the Xbox rep once about our Xbox sales numbers, but that's because the store that I was working at, I think it was Northern Lights, did rather well with Xbox stuff.
Oh, would they ever get you guys food or anything if you did well selling their product? Oh.
No. Every once in a while we would get some neat little freebies. Our Nintendo rep, she gave me a special Switch stylus when Mario Maker 2 came out.
Oh.
So something that you can't buy normally. I don't know where it is. I've lost it since, but
no, that's cool.
It was neat while I had it.
Would they provide any other kind of incentives, or in selling phones, for example? Sometimes LG would do you get extra money if you sell LG, and it'd be called a spiff. And I guess maybe you wouldn't get extra money, but any kind of incentive?
No, not really. Sony did have their own special training app that you could use. I think it was called Zunos. That sometimes you could get PlayStation things. I don't know. I never did it. I never did this. I always said I would do it, and then I just never did it because my ADHD is shit. But no, they never had any sort of special thing in terms of sales stuff going.
What about dealing with your district manager?
No, for me it was good. I liked my DM, so whenever he came in, it was just oh hey, Mark's here, cool.
What about interviews? Are those hard or easy? Again, pretend you're answering someone new. They ask you.
It's so in terms of going
through the interview, and I remember you saying you knew people from another job, they don't get that kind of connection.
So trying to go through the interview process to get hired.
Yeah.
The interviews in and of itself are not hard. It's just a matter of remembering most of the time you are up against a lot of competition. Just in terms of sheer volume, unless you're at a store that doesn't have a wide option pool, mall stores generally don't have a lot of people who apply there because they'll have a local GameStop where they live. But it's just the sheer volume that is the biggest competition. From there, it's just answering questions well, being confident, but not overconfident. Don't be a self-reported asshole. I've had those people. We decline them every time.
I wash dishes in a Mexican restaurant, but the owner of that business has been deported. Then I got a divorce. I kind of lost my mind. I also got bariatric surgery, so I lost my major coping mechanism, which is food. I am disabled. I am morbidly obese. I have no references, no work history, and no education. And when you Google my name, you might see rumors that I beat my ex-wife and I'm also a pedophile. I'm easily injured, like I injured myself coming here today. I twisted my ankle. My work ethic is not great. Should mention I'm also a felon.
What's the nature of your felony?
Aggravated assault.
How old is it?
About 2 years.
That's all it is. You are selling yourself to me, like, you are telling me why you should work for GameStop, is really what it comes down to. Every interviewer will do things differently. They'll have different questions. They have a, interview guide that they give for us, but especially when you get your more veteran, managers, they'll just make up their own questions or have their own, special interviews. We're essentially trying to figure out, how good are you at selling things? How well could you sell me? A lot of times, one of the most common questions you'll get is what is your favorite game? So, what's your favorite game?
Smash.
All right.
Let's say.
I would be looking for you to sell me on Smash Brothers. That's essentially what the purpose of that question is. So, because again, GameStop is first and foremost a sales job. What you know about video games does not matter. It's how well can you sell those video games.
Mm-hmm. Also, we were talking about the different reps that would come to GameStop. What about Funko Pop? Did they ever send a rep? Any of the collectibles? Pokemon trading card people?
Nintendo handled Pokemon stuff. I feel like one time ever I met a Hasbro rep. And then obviously I met the person that I talked about for Starlink in that first episode.
Yep.
I met her once. But other than that, it's just been the big three.
Is working at GameStop alone easy or hard?
It depends on how busy the day is.
Let's say it's a Saturday.
It's going to be a little bit more difficult. Just because of the sheer volume of people, it'll get overwhelming, I guess, is more the big thing. Because you'll see a larger number of people, you'll be thinking about, obviously your KPIs that you've got to hit. That's the biggest thing for me, and the biggest reason why I quit. The weight that my brain put on itself for oh god, I have to hit these KPIs, more people means I need to get more, pro cards, more add-ons, just volumetrically. So it just became too stressful. It became too much of a negative weight on my mental health.
So yeah, busy days alone are hard.
Yeah.
Would GameStop open at 10 or noon, or most of the stores you worked at?
Before the pandemic, we opened at, I want to say 9. And then when the pandemic rolled around, we were set at opening at noon for a while. And then it backed up to 11. And then it backed up, I think, to 10 right before I left. And what it's at right now, I'm not sure. I think it's still open at 10, but I could be wrong.
What was easier then, mornings or night?
For me personally, closing, just because waking up early is hard for me. In terms
Imagine that.
In terms of just the job in general, it depends on the day. I would say usually probably opening, because GameStop is generally not very busy in the mornings.
List off to me again the things you're trying to attach on every sale, KPIs.
Pro memberships, pre-orders, and then game protection plans.
Of those three, which one was the hardest to sell? Which one was the easiest? Or metric to hit, and which one was the hardest metric to hit of the three?
Again, it really depended. It would bounce between pre-orders and pro memberships depending on the store and the time of year. Certain games, like Spider-Man, easy pre-orders. If you're at a Nintendo store, games like Pokemon, Smash, Zelda, easy pre-orders. Relatively well-to-do stores, pro memberships can be easier to get, versus lower-end stores, pro memberships can be really fucking hard. So it is a very much case-by-case basis. Every store has its strengths and its weaknesses.
Let's default to the mall and let's say summertime. What would
pre-orders.
be the...
Pre-orders are far and away the hardest at any mall store, because no one wants to go to the mall to pick up a pre-order if they've got a local store.
Yeah. And then I guess summertime, I feel like most of the games, they come out fall time, holiday season. And then what would be the next?
Probably pro memberships. Like, more protections aren't all that difficult to get, especially once you get like really good at selling them and understanding like what matters to the people of your like clientele. And also, protections are definitely one of those things, like if the customer will give you the chance to talk, it's a lot easier to sell them on the protection, because like, hey, you're getting this thing, this shit costs money, you know, if you're getting a $70 game, just spend the $4, so if it breaks I can just get you another one. Or if you're getting this controller, especially if you're getting a new controller, like just spend the $10. Protect your shit. These things can be fragile, especially if you're playing a game like Call of Duty or Madden. Those games are hard on your control sticks. These things are not built to last. Get this protection. I'll just get you another one when shit goes wrong. I can make it a lot easier for you.
I guess to give us an idea on the protection, let's say, you know, a couple of years ago when you were there, someone goes in, they want to buy a brand new PS4 controller.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much would the protection be on that?
$10.
$10. And then, like, it's good for lifetime or a couple of years or what?
Originally, it was just the 1-year option. I think they've since added a 2-year option. There are some things that it does not cover. Like, it doesn't cover water damage or fire damage or intentional damage. Like, you can't, obviously, like, rip your controller in half.
What if you get mad?
This is how an old country boy fixes a red ring of death forever. It's fixed yet. I believe it needs just a little bit more repair to it. I believe that did it. Well, it's fixed. You'll never have the red ring of death again. That's how I fix a red ring of death here in the country.
I did instruct my employees to, if they're in the case of doubt, err on the side of the customer. Worst case scenario, you can fudge the rules. Like, I've sent back controllers with physical damage because, you know, we want to be good to the customer.
Yeah.
I was very much a person of the people, more so than a corporate person.
Again, with the protection, you could literally go back to GameStop and just walk
take,
out. Like, this hypothetical with a PS4 controller, just take a new one?
Yeah, so it would be, you would need a pro membership. Doesn't have to be a pro membership, it could be a free membership, but you need a membership or the little sticker that they would print out or your receipt. Just some way to show, like, you have the protection. But yeah, you can go to literally any GameStop, be like, hey, this doesn't work anymore.
Oh, any GameStop.
Yep, and they will get you a new controller. You would still need to pay for a new membership, but instead of paying the $70 for a new DualSense controller, you're paying $10 for a new protection.
Were you ever worried that like someone could buy a PS4 controller, buy the warranty, and then or the protection, and then come back a week later and have a different PS4 controller? It wasn't the one you sold.
Yeah, people have tried that. Like, if it's a different color, then it's obvious they're trying to scam it. And no, you bring me back the original controller.
Yeah.
If someone brings back, like, they buy a controller and then the next day they bring back a controller, same color, but it's been beat to shit and it's very clearly a controller they've had for years, it's like, I sincerely doubt this. But even then, like, I told my employees, like, at the end of the day, it does not matter. Like, we do not get paid enough to care. Like, if it's not blatantly apparent that they're trying to take advantage of us, just do it.
I'm not trying to make this all about the protection plan, but I guess one last question. Hypothetically, let's say I live up in Ely, Minnesota, where the nearest GameStop's over an hour away, like an hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I buy protection, something does break. Is there any kind of option to ship something back to GameStop? Like, not a store, but like, some kind of warehouse?
Yeah.
And then
I don't remember how they do it off the top of my head, but yeah, you can reach out to their store support, and yeah, they can do it all through shipping as well.
Yeah, and that'd be nice, and then ship out a new one. Nice. What else, in your opinion, was hard about GameStop? Just the grind?
That's really it. Like,
yeah.
GameStop in and of itself is not a difficult job. The problem is the corporate overreach and just the expectations. It grinds you down over time. And that's why I always tell people, like, if you just want it as like a part-time job, just to be like a GA or maybe an SGA, sure, it's not that hard. Like, if you're just there once a week or twice a week, it's not going to wear on you very much. It's when you get into management, being an assistant manager, store manager, or higher, that's when things get difficult. That's when it really starts to kill you. It was soul crushing. Like, had such a detrimental effect on my mental health.
And like, what was maybe the bigger like cause of that? Like upper management, DM getting on you about goals, or the customers that came to the store? What was like the...
It was everything. All of it piled up after a while, and it just got to the point where I would dread having to go into work, because like I would go in almost expecting to fail, you know, like I'm going in with an uphill battle that, you know, it's not like I'm gonna hit this minimum and it's how far can I go beyond that. It's okay, I have to claw each day, and if I don't get that minimum, I failed.
Was there ever hard questions asked by customers? Like, I don't even know an example. Like, hard in terms of like, oh, I forgot if this was on the 360 or the One, or...
Yeah, I'm sure there was plenty of questions. Like, there will always be questions that you don't have the answer to. Whether it's, you know, relating to specific games or consoles or trying to find something or, you know, what. You will never have every answer. I worked there for 5 years. I've worked with all the different reps. I did all the trainings. I tried to play as many games as I could so I could have as broad a knowledge base as possible. I still did not know every answer.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And right, that's some people could ask too. Right, is this a pretty easy game? You know, will my 8-year-old be able to figure it out?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
It's okay to tell people, like, I don't know. I've never played this game, or I don't know anything about it. You have a tablet at every store. You can certainly look stuff up if they have the time, or you can tell them, like, you can recommend places to look up. One huge resource for me that I tried to give to pretty much any parent, esrb.org, I think is the website, is the actual, like, ESRB official website, where they have information on every single video game. It's the most bare bones basic shit, but it lets people get a, like, very generic understanding of what is included. So it's a really good tool for parents of, like, is this appropriate for my child? Check on this website.
Okay, and then another question I just thought of. Back talking about store resets in October. So was literally like everything in GameStop like organized like where it has to be?
Yeah.
Exact spots and everything?
Yep. Every fixture, every wall space has, like, things have to be here. You did not get any generic, like, do with this as you please spots. There was no.
And then
gray
does
zones.
everything have to be alphabetical?
All video games had to be alphabetical, yes. Thankfully, I had the benefit of, I had a very lax DM. He let me get away with a lot. He was very much as long as my store looked nice and was shoppable, I could do more or less what I wanted. So I played very fast and loose with my marketing. I organized things in ways that were not set to planogram because I made things look a lot better. Because the people who came up with the planograms, especially for the accessories on the walls, did not know what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose the shape of every GameStop is a little different, so...
More or less. I mean, they try to keep things roughly the same.
Yeah.
They want to try to have GameStops be as cookie-cutter as possible, because the idea is you could go in there and know where things are. Like, you would know that Xbox is on the right-hand wall right as soon as you walk in. You would know that Nintendo's on the back wall, because it's the same at every store.
How often would managers or someone in the store have to walk around and count inventory?
Every week, you would have a list of categories that you need to do an inventory for. And then every, I want to say Tuesday and Thursday, or something. It was either every Tuesday and Thursday or every day you would have a different category or set of categories that you need to do, you know, an inventory check for. And then once a year, you would do a total store inventory, where it would be the district manager, a collection of between 4 and 7 store managers, depending on the size of the store. You guys would all go there and be there for a couple of hours that night as soon as you close and do a total store inventory on everything, which I enjoyed those. I had fun with them. I did an inventory at, I'm pretty sure, every single store in the district while I was there.
Yeah, and I guess good that you got help, because I feel like it would take all night, one person, you know, with all the games, like literally going through every single 360 game, Wii game, and yeah, it's kind of be a nightmare. And then, like, I guess when you're checking inventory, are you in the back looking at discs, or on the floor looking at the case, or both?
The discs in the drawers, if you're checking the games. Because those drawers behind the counter, that's where all the games are.
Oh, but yeah, both you said, like, making sure you got the disc? Or as many discs as it says you do in inventory, or?
They have different counts for each. The inventory counts were... Oh god, I can't even remember the proper name for it. They would have one where you would check the cases to make sure that you have a display case for every title that you have on hand. That's literally what it's called, title on hand count.
Yeah.
To show that you've got a display case for every game in your inventory. I don't remember all the terminology because it's been a couple of years at this point. But
did you ever do one of those inventories at another store and like the previous manager was just bad and there was a lot of shrink and like the count was like way off compared to...
Yeah, it was almost like a fun game to see, you know, who would have really high shrink, who would have really low shrink.
And I assume your stores were really low and other ones were really high.
The two stores that I ran both had the lowest shrink counts in the entire district. I ran a very tight ship.
But other people not so much, they didn't care.
No. But there was a store that I did that literally had over $1,000 in shrink.
Damn.
Which at GameStop, that's a lot.
Right. I mean, so many of the games are like, what, $50 or less. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, it could be $20, $50 games, but probably wasn't. It's probably a lot of little ones. In conclusion, is working at GameStop hard? Sum up what you said. Technically, no, but yes, soul crushing. You got to go in there with a mindset that, you know, you're going to sell.
Yeah.
Not just play video games and talk about them necessarily. I don't know anything else I'm forgetting.
No, I think you pretty much summed it up.